Ride along each week as we share proven strategies to strengthen your business, energize your team, and create the business success you've been dreaming about. And now, here's your host, Rich Allen.
How effectively are you qualifying your new prospects? Welcome to the Ultimate Business Tune-Up Podcast, where our one and only goal is to help you tune up your business so you can have the long-lasting success and fulfillment that comes from owning a solid, profitable, and sustainable business. Each week we dive deep into a single topic related to improving your business, improving your team engagement, or improving your relationship with your customers. Over the past 3 weeks, we've covered the 3 levels of team engagement, the fundamental statements that each and every team member are considering as they answer the big question, is this position and this company the right fit for me? If you missed these past episodes, I'm going to strongly suggest that you hit the pause button and go back and listen to these 3 episodes to get these statements locked into your brain. It's important for you, for your customers, your business, and your team members. But today we're moving on. This week I want to share some thoughts with you on qualifying new prospects. And specifically, my question for you this week is, how effectively are you qualifying your new prospects? It's not uncommon for me to hear that the biggest issue or challenge a business owner is facing is the need to gain new customers. Many businesses have their team assembled, they have their product or service ready to go, and all they need to make the business work is to find and secure more customers. So this week, I want to tackle one of the bigger challenges, qualifying new prospects. This topic came up because last week I was asked to join in a meeting with a marketing firm and a business owner that they were working with. The reason for the meeting was to review the results of their recent marketing campaign and find out why the business wasn't converting more of their new leads into new customers. As it turns out, the marketing company was doing a fantastic job of getting the attention of new prospects, and many of them were responding to their call-to-action marketing messages. The business owner was receiving many more inquiries and requests for quote or proposal, but in the end, they were not closing more deals or gaining new customers. Our meeting was to dig into the details and try to find the missing key to turning these new leads into new customers. After reviewing the data and confirming that the new leads generated by the marketing firm were in fact good leads, those who appeared to fit the ideal customer profile of the business, I started to ask questions about the step-by-step process that was currently being followed. My antenna went up right away when the answer to my question, so what is the step-by-step process you take your new prospects through today, was, well, we don't really have a step-by-step process. I kind of just go by feel as we have a conversation. Now, before I go on, I want to pause for a minute so you can reflect on your step-by-step sales process. Do you have a step-by-step process you take your prospects through? You do have a step-by-step process you take your prospects through, don't you? No need to raise your hand, but based on my experience in asking this question, I'm pretty confident that at least half of you listening don't have a step-by-step sales process in place. You may have a process in your head, but if I asked you to send it to me, you'd send me a blank email. Am I right? I'll answer that. Yes, I am. It became clear to me that this was one of the big issues this business owner was facing. They were now getting many more new leads coming into their business, but they didn't have a process or a plan on how they were going to engage with them and move them from being just curious to being a new customer. And oh, by the way, it's not that this business owner was disorganized or not on top of his game. In fact, their product was viewed very favorably and their customers loved working with them. But the reality was that their business was coming mostly from referrals, which meant that someone else had already done the selling for them, and all they had to do was pick up the phone and close the deal. Now they wanted to grow faster, so their marketing company was generating new leads, largely from an audience that had no prior experience with this business, and they didn't come having been referred by someone they knew and trusted. This meant that the business owner had to start from the beginning and move the new lead from just being curious to being excited to be a customer. But since all they'd been doing is taking an order, they hadn't given much thought to the process necessary to move someone from being a cold lead to being a hot prospect. Which brings us to the discussion topic today: how to effectively qualify new prospects for your business. As I shared my thoughts on this with the business owner, I drew out an inverted vacuum on the whiteboard. By inverted, I mean the wide part of the funnel was at the bottom and the narrow part of the funnel was at the top. I told the business owner that I didn't think sales worked the way most people describe it, where you have a funnel and simply pour in new leads at the top, and over time, they'll work their way down the funnel and ultimately become a new customer. I believe the funnel is inverted, which makes it look more like the head of a vacuum cleaner. The bottom is wider and has several suction heads. These are your lead generating strategies. You're probably using lead generators like your website, SEO marketing, referrals, social media marketing, networking, and perhaps even some traditional advertising. Each of these strategies is a suction head on your sales vacuum. They're attracting new leads to your business. And when they see something that catches their attention, you have to set the hook, much like as if you were fishing. When you go fishing, you don't throw the bait in the water and at the first sign of a nibble, just yank the fish into the boat. You've got to set the hook, then let them run a bit, then set the hook again, and let them run some more. After doing this several times, then you can bring the fish into the boat. Well, fishing for new customers is very similar. Your bait is your marketing strategies. Then, when someone nibbles on your bait, you set the hook and then let them run a bit. Then set the hook again and let them run a bit more, and on until they're finally in the boat. This setting the hook and letting them run sequence represents your step-by-step sales process. You may not have given this much thought, but if you're selling a high-ticket product or service, you probably have at least 7 or 8 steps in your sales process. You may only be thinking of 3 or 4 steps, but if you're doing it right, you probably have 7 or 8 at a minimum. So after I drew my inverted funnel on the whiteboard, I asked the business owner what the first steps were in his sales process. He was quick to share that he called the prospect, asked them lots of questions, gave them lots of options, and used the information he got on the call to give them a quote. When I asked what kinds of information he needed to build a quote, I was immediately overwhelmed. Turns out there were so many options that each have cost implications, and unless he knew exactly all the details, he would not get the quote right. So he bombarded them with questions right out of the gate. I stopped him and asked, "So when do you ask more about them? What they're trying to accomplish? What matters most to them? What gets them excited? And what would make their working with you a great experience?" He paused and said, "I don't." It was then that it became clear he was missing the first 3 or 4 steps of an effective sales vacuum. The first 3 or 4 steps of any sales process must be the qualifying steps. These are the steps where you're simply gathering insights, asking questions, and sharing some insider knowledge. I found that unless you spend the first half of the sales process listening, probing, sharing free advice, and getting excited about what's possible, the prospect will simply see it as a price negotiation. Without spending time getting excited with them about why they called or responded to your marketing message, your sales strategy is simply to offer the best price. It's hard to set yourself apart from your competition by just getting the facts and translating the facts into a number, the price of doing business with you. Qualifying the new prospect is not about knowing their budget or making sure they live in your service market. Do those things matter? Of course they do. You'll get to them eventually. You want to qualify based on whether the prospect is the kind of customer you want to do business with. If it turns out that they're the kind of customer you want, and if they see that you truly care about what they need and want, they will find the budget to do business with you. This step-by-step qualifying process is unique to each and every business. For the business I've been sharing about, we designed a very specific step-by-step process where they qualified their prospect by asking great questions about what they wanted, not what he needed. There's a big difference. What we need is about building a quote, the math, the numbers, the price. What they want is all about their vision, their dream, their excitement, or the problem you're going to solve for them. It had nothing to do with the quote or the price. Take a few minutes this week to review your sales process and see if your current process focuses first on what your prospect wants, not what you need. If not, simply remember that if you're going to go fishing for new customers, you must simply set the hook, then let them run a bit, and repeat that again and again until they're in the boat. And don't set the hook with your needs first. Save those until after you've set the hook with their needs. Do this, and you'll be landing big new fish, new prospects, faster than you have ever before. If you need some help thinking through this for your business, don't hesitate to reach out and ask. I'd be glad to walk through your current step-by-step sales process to determine where we could make it more effective and more impactful. Remember, your prospects will perceive more value from your products and services when they know that you're interested in helping them solve their big problem, not yours. Now, before we go, 2 quick asks. Share this podcast with your fellow business owners. I'm trying to get these free business tips to as many business owners as possible. I want every business owner to be successful, and this is my gift to you and to them. Thanks for passing this along. And lastly, please leave a review on this podcast. The more thumbs up this podcast gets, the more it will be found when someone's stuck or struggling and looking for advice. Your review can help make this happen. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to tune in next week when we're going to discuss creating a firm foundation. You won't want to miss it. Meanwhile, if you have a question, suggestion, or would simply like to connect, shoot me an email at rich@tourtoprofit.com. Now go make it a great week. And whatever you do, ride hard.
Thank you for listening to the Ultimate Business Tune-Up. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. In the meantime, find more resources at tourtoprofit.com and connect with Rich by sending a message to rich@tourtoprofit.com. Until next time, ride hard.